Hello everyone, and welcome to our virtual educational program. In this module, we will be talking about wheelchairs. The wheelchair industry has greatly expanded in recent years, with various designs and functionalities to fit the needs of the users. In this video, we will be providing an overview of different types of wheelchairs. Wheelchairs are divided into categories and subcategories based on their types, features, and materials. There are two main different categories: manual wheelchairs and power wheelchairs. Manual wheelchairs are just that, wheelchairs that are manually propelled by the user or can be pushed by someone walking behind. There are a number of different types of manual wheelchairs that range from ultra-lightweight to heavy-duty. They can be categorized by style, which includes transport wheelchairs, folding frame manual wheelchairs, or rigid frame manual wheelchairs. Transport wheelchairs are lightweight, narrow mobility chairs that combine the function of a wheelchair with the maneuverability of a walker. They are meant to be pushed by a caregiver, as their small wheels make it impossible for the wheelchair user to propel themselves. Next, folding frame wheelchairs. Folding frame manual wheelchairs are sometimes needed if one requires leg rests or has limited ability to bend the knees. They can be folded in half to be stored and transported in a car so that you can go to social engagements, doctor's appointments, or therapy sessions. Rigid frame wheelchairs are usually lighter in weight than the folding ones, with fewer moving parts. As such, it decreases the effort required to push or propel. They can also be categorized by weight, which includes ultra-lightweight, lightweight, standard weight, and heavy-duty. Usually, wheelchairs that weigh over 36 pounds are considered standard weight. Lightweight wheelchairs are in the 30 to 36 pound range, while ultra-lightweight wheelchairs are below 30. Heavy-duty wheelchairs are usually 40 pounds or above. Several factors come into play when selecting a wheelchair by its weight. First, balance. The purpose of the wheelchair is to provide someone with better mobility. As such, one may be leaning sideways or bending forward and backwards while they're seated in the chair. When the weight of the wheelchair is incompatible with the weight of the user, you may increase your risk of falling. A lighter wheelchair might topple over when leaning or bending, whereas a heavier wheelchair will provide greater support and stability. Second, mobility. As operating a manual wheelchair requires a significant amount of upper body strength, it is important to consider that lighter wheelchairs may be easier to propel, whereas heavier wheelchairs are difficult to maneuver and may lead to muscle strains and other musculoskeletal problems. And lastly, comfort. Lighter wheelchairs are usually better for additional enhancements, while heavier wheelchairs' mobility may be affected by those enhancements. And finally, manual wheelchairs can be categorized based on material, such as steel, aluminum, titanium, or carbon composite. Next, let's talk about some questions you should consider when choosing the right wheelchair for your loved one. How often will you use it? If you plan on using the wheelchair in most of your activities, you should consider one that has a simple and light design. Where will you use it? If you live in an area with rough and uneven roads, you should consider finding wheels made for outdoor use. This allows for better control and enhanced safety. How will you move it? If you plan on loading your wheelchair in a car, consider its size when folded and overall weight. If it's too heavy, you may have a hard time lifting it in and out of your car. While manual wheelchairs are operated by the individual, power wheelchairs are battery-operated, which can be controlled by the user or a nearby individual. Power wheelchairs are usually flexible enough to be adapted to almost any needs with the addition of specialized components, such as a respirator, speech device, specialized controls and switches, and a selection of positioning and body alignment options. Power wheelchairs can be front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, or center-wheel drive. For a front-wheel drive, the wheels are at the front of the wheelchair, and there are two caster wheels at the rear of the wheelchair too. Caster wheels are used to stabilize the wheelchair. This driving configuration may be preferred to some for its benefits. For example, they go directly in front of sinks, counters, and other surfaces, as they allow the user to pull up closer. It also allows for smoother transitions over obstacles. And lastly, a front-wheel drive wheelchair can easily navigate tight corners in a home, such as 90-degree turns in a hallway. A center-wheel drive wheelchair, also known as mid-wheel drive, has the driving wheel right under the wheelchair user, and there are 4 caster wheels, 2 in front of the driving wheels and 2 behind. Benefits of a center-wheel drive wheelchair include the following. The drive wheel placement allows for the tightest turning radius. As such, they can easily navigate most turns in the home. Additionally, the 4 caster wheels help provide a stable base. Lastly, a rear-wheel drive wheelchair has wheels at the rear of the wheelchairs with 2 casters at the front. Its benefits include the fact that having drive wheels in the rear provides a very stable base anteriorly. Additionally, they have good performance outdoors, and they are usually the easiest to maneuver in a variety of environments. Although power wheelchairs are a great option for some, it is important to note a few drawbacks to these. First, they break down more often than manual wheelchairs, and their repairs can be expensive. Second, some of them do not fit through an average doorway, and you will need an adapted van or good accessible public transportation to move around. And lastly, your wheelchair funder and insurance may not cover the entire cost of the wheelchair and components. Let's go through some examples of which wheelchair would we choose for an individual with a stroke. If an individual with a stroke is able to walk but not far, their movements such as sitting and standing are not greatly affected, but their speed and balance coordination are a bit worse, then a lightweight aluminum wheelchair may be the best option. Additionally, an individual with these abilities may also use a large-wheeled, self-propelled wheelchair to promote physical activity. Or they may use a small-wheeled, assisted wheelchair, which is lighter and requires help from a caregiver. For an individual who, due to a stroke, cannot walk but sit steady, then they may be recommended a folding wheelchair. This wheelchair can be equipped with outward rotating footrests, removable armrests, and lower seat adjustments, which can make it easier for the user's feet to reach the ground. As such, it is less effortful to move in and out of the chair and to propel. If an individual cannot walk or sit independently due to their stroke, then a wheelchair with a high back support may be recommended. Consider the following questions. Can the user hold up their head and neck and sit up independently? If they can, then a reclining wheelchair may be most suitable. If they cannot, then a tilt-in-space wheelchair may be helpful. This type of wheelchair helps the user relieve some pressure on their bottom and also allows for easier repositioning. Lastly, will the user need the wheelchair long-term? If so, then a reclining and tilt-in-space wheelchair with both features may be best. Keep in mind that there is no best wheelchair, only the most suitable one depending on your needs and your abilities. A wheelchair assessment is a necessary process to collect information that will help the healthcare provider or assistive device professional to choose the most appropriate wheelchair and additional components for each unique individual. Thank you for your attention during this presentation. We hope the information provided was helpful to you